Mandate.
Welcome to the Mandate Show, where nothing's off the table. Obviously, we're not around the table because of COVID lockdown. But hey, the next best thing is the luxury of Zoom and being online, and so we're in for another night. And so we're very blessed to have a very good man, another astute man, and a good friend of mine as well. And so, as I introduce him, he hails from the prestigious College of De La Salle, Autumn Suter Minnesota, from the class of 94. He's been in the youth game, a youth worker for 25 years. He's traveled far and wide to several countries. He also has a diploma in youth work, also a missionary youth worker in Papua New Guinea. He's experienced living in the slums of the Philippines. He was part of a performing arts group that toured the UK and USA sharing the gospel. He featured in the world's strictest parents as a youth worker working with at-risk youth from Australia. He also set up the Kiwi Daddy movement in Tamaki Makaurau, organized the Walk of Life, completed 2 Rotorua full marathons, competed in the Tough Guy Challenges, both in Tamaki Makaurau and Rotorua, walked Tongariro Crossing. His hobbies are paintballing, carving, baking, cooking, walking and climbing mountains, and watching classic movies. He's married to Ta'ahine Talavo, beautiful Tongan woman, and lovely 4 kids, and now working in the truancy space for the Ministry of Education. Welcome to the show, Sio Laumatia. Hello,
Alofa. Tue ki te rangi, tue ki te whenua, tue ki te nā kaunga tangata, o te mea nui ko te aroha ti hei Māori ora. Ki tō mai te aroha, nā mani a ki tia te e nā mate haere, te whare tūnei, te nā koe. Te hunga mate ki te hunga mate, te hunga ora. Mā rosei fo maua. Tā rofa, la ungoa o Sio Laumatia, pe au, te lo kamasa o mai whanlakai, sa rei moa, alo ki ngāsa o mai malie reo waa. Awa uiang whangau ngi Nusila. Alo ko rua o konga. Ko whālau whangau. Ngofo I o tahu. Ia, o singa pupu rea. Ngai kam kikira aku lei aku. Mā rose fo mau. Tai lava.
Mā lava uso.
Shakers.
And what I just add, I forgot to add, hey, he is the founder. He's the one we started the initiative of the Brothers Keepers, where a lot of men get to chat and to encourage and support each other. So also, thank you so much once again for coming on the show. So before we kind of delve into our kōrero or our talk and our interview tonight, just very quickly, how has your lockdown been? And I'm not talking about the physical aspect of your lockdown or work-wise. I'm thinking more or less your well-being, more or less your mental state. How has it been this time around with the lockdown?
The first lockdown was hard, and I think hard to the point where mentally I was drained. Because I was so used to going out to work. That's my love and passion. And I when that got stripped, sucks, man. We'll face with all different other challenges. One, trying to balance work. 2, trying to get a routine with your kids, and it got to a point where, to be honest, even my marriage was a bit of a strain. Kids press all your buttons, and when you're tired, you tend to say things that you regret after. You do things, and you just, man, you regret it. And I think we learned from that first one. But still, the same things come through, and I guess the beauty of it, if you try to see the positive out of this COVID thing, it's kind of highlights the things that I need to work on in my marriage, but also work on as a father. I'm the man when it comes to youth work, but my parenting styles always so. Still. The old school, and then it's the new school, and so like you're trying to find the balance. And at times, man, honestly, your kids drive you up the wall, and it's understandable. Kids are kids, and when you're locked in the same space, 24/7. Kids want to get up. They miss their friends, and so when you try to set boundaries, yeah, they'll push those boundaries, but it's something that's you can work on. And I guess the beauty of this is that we're given a second chance to work at it. So, I'm not saying that it's perfect. I am saying that we are working towards better, something better, for our whole family. So it's yeah, I guess when their freedom is stripped, you only turn to your loved ones and embrace them, love them harder for whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Love them wholeheartedly, man. Even though you just want to keep king on it. Sometimes, man, you just gotta love them, man. And so, yeah, mentally, it was challenging. But the good thing about the lockdown is you get to do these Zoom meetings, with the brothers, and I guess the good thing about it is that it's always hard trying to get everyone together physically. And now we've got no excuse. We all got a laptop, we all got a device, and it's so easy. It doesn't take too much effort. Just press a couple of buttons and boom, you're there in the meeting. But still, we busyness of life, it is still hard for brothers to come together. But I'll say we're a lot more successful Zoom-wise and meeting together than it was physically. When it's physical, it's you're competing with everything. Yeah, the busyness of life, the work, family, everything. Whereas this, yeah, there's no escape.
Yeah, man, that's true.
You can't escape. You can't silly. You're lying. You're lying. So
That's
I guess
true.
that's the beauty of it. Eh? That's the beauty of it all. Always try to see the positive of this COVID. Yeah.
That's so cool. Sio, I love your perspective. It's like you're saying, you said it is like a second chance for you this time around with COVID, and this
Yeah.
one in particular. And so, because I know you do youth work, you've been in the youth game for 25 years. And a lot of men, especially young men, I'm assuming a lot of young men are probably watching this thinking, man, so he's done youth work for 25 years. I wonder what you were like. And so, could you give us a little bit of, or tell us a little bit about your youth days? What were you like as a youth? What influenced you growing up? What kind of shaped you as a youth? And yeah, just tell us a little bit about what you were like as a youth.
As a youth, you're sort of like one, you're trying to be a good boy, please mum and dad. But at the same time, you got the other side. You've got the world just tugging at you, pulling at you. So when you're young, you try to be good, but you come across different influences. But you want to test the waters. You want to feel bad sometimes. I'm trying to prove it to you, but so I'm not mad, man. So and I guess that's where I was at. I kind of lost myself because one, I'm trying to be good, but at the same time, I'm trying to be bad, trying to prove that I'm a badass, and so there's a bit of a tug of war going on, and but good thing about it, you experience stuff, and then you realize, oh, sorry, no, that's not right. If I don't change my ways, I end up getting killed or doing something really stupid. And so that's where I was at. After my teenage years, got into the early 20s. When in your early 20s, you're introduced to the clubs, and you introduced to the drugs and the alcohol, and you get to introduce all these things. And sometimes you just want to test the waters. You just want to experience what it's like. When you're growing up in a very strict religious family, your upbringing is quite strict. So it comes a point where you just want to break free. You just want to get out and see what it's like on the other side. And yeah, I say I got into the whole clubbing scene, got into the drinking scene. But at the back of your head, you still hear your mum and dad say, "Hey, they're local." and you grow up and you still hear those voices. Hey, even though I'm in my 40s now, you still hear the mum's voice. Yeah, le loku, mangkua le loku. So, and no, I'm kind of the same thing with my kids, le loku sort of thing. And so, it was good. I had mum and dad, and just they kept the faith, and that's what makes me go and then come back, come back, come back, sort of knowing that their love was unconditional, and they were still solid, and that's what I needed in my life, because if they weren't solid, if he would have got swept, and because honestly, yeah, that the other side, that life is quite nice, quite nice.
Mm.
I enjoyed it, and yeah, but I'm thankful that my parents prayed for me, and they stood strong, and I was able to come back to that, something solid. And that's what I needed in my life. Then, because if they weren't solid, so yeah, easy, easy would have been just ka'a, and then yeah, end up getting girls pregnant and stuff like that. But nah, stood strong because my parents were strong, and kind of taking that on. So yeah, it wasn't the greatest, but I'd say in terms of experiencing life, you needed to go through it to know who you are, really.
Mm.
If you weren't tested, then you just you live life, and you sort of like think, oh yeah, this is who I am, but really you haven't been tested, so it
Mm.
doesn't bring out the best in you,
Wow.
and so you're settled with complacency, your comfort, and then and when you're comfortable, when you're complacent, you lose yourself. Your integrity goes. You're not so you're not bringing the best out of you. You're just happy with the good, but you're robbing yourself from getting the best. Great, and that's why when I look back, I enjoyed my teenage years, because there was a if I hadn't learned what I had learned back then, I wouldn't be able to teach and pass on the knowledge um, that I had, young people that I work with today. I wouldn't understand the world that they live in. You
Mm.
know, I can say, "Oh man, don't do that. It's bad for you." I understand, but I
Mm.
don't. I don't. But because I went through it, I was able to know where these young people know what they're going through, and just be able to, offer some advice in terms of ways that they can take. At the end of the day, they've got to make a choice. You can't try and force them, but no, they got to live their life. They got to go through their journey. They got to know who they really are and what they have. So now, to answer your question, yeah, that's where I was at my youth. I
Oh,
well, that no regrets, no regrets.
man,
Yeah,
that's awesome, Sio, because what a journey. And you're absolutely right. I believe you're totally right in terms of a lot of our young people and a lot of our young men probably thinking, oh, and you can't say to them, oh, I've experienced this, I've done this, I
yeah,
know what it's like, and you haven't even experienced it, you haven't even lived it out the way they've
yes,
experienced it. And so for you to have that clout or have that weight, like, okay, I know what it feels like to be in that position, and I know the hardships and the struggles. And so, and the thing is, you've been doing this for 25 years.
mm,
And to think about it too, you're probably doing it probably even more than 25 years. Because I know you've done, yeah, I'm assuming because I know you used to do a lot of youth work with church and all that. And so
yeah.
you probably have done it more than 25 years. But in terms of going back to your work, youth work, was that always the vision for you? Was it something that you always envisioned in your mind that you were like, I'm going to get straight into youth work, or was that
Mm.
something that was kind of not by chance that you kind of stumbled onto? Say, oh, you know what, I really like this, or was it something like, man, I'm youth work is what I'm called to do? Is it?
Mm.
Yeah, tell us a little bit like, in terms of how you got into the youth work. In terms of your work and your journey, how did you get into that?
Yeah, well, after Sunday school finished, finished Sunday school, there was a gap at our church. There was no youth. And so, at that time, we were in our 20s. And, I was talking about influences. We were at that stage, and there was, you can listen to your mom and dad, but you needed to live, or I needed to live my own faith. I couldn't live their faith because that's just not right. That's not me. And so there was a time where, man, after Sunday school there was nothing, and so I was getting to the work life, but then I started getting to the club team and all that stuff, and there was an emptiness. There was an emptiness, in terms of faith. I was lost. I know I was enjoying that life, but I was at the same time, I'll go out and then come early hours in the morning and came to go local, and I was living that life, and so I was back and forth, and I got to a point where, shucks, man, I was thinking, man, who am I? I want to be faithful to God, but at the same time, I'm enjoying this life. And so me and a couple of the Usos, the Bakiso brothers, Peter and Michael, Duke Brown, see, George Tito, we all went to the same church, and we were all in the same boat. And then I just thought, hey, let's just start up a youth group. And at the time, it was more like a youth group. I was thinking, let's get together, go camps, have socials, and that was our thing. But then when we started this youth group, and it was called The Rock. We were introduced to amazing people. Got at a very young age. We were introduced to brothers like Michael Jones and Pastor Sam from No Names down in Wellington, and they mentored us. So we were amongst these great men. You had the Lafali'i brothers, you had the Whanga brothers, and so we had this group called Mighty Men. And me and Duke, we were the young ones, and we were the young bucks, and all the other guys, they've been in the game for a while. So we were under their guidance, and it was awesome. It took our faith to the next level. And at the same time, I got to go into varsity, not because I was brainy or anything, or because I wanted to. I went to varsity during the lunch break to PSFC, and that's where I got introduced to the likes of Ronji, Efeso, Pat, just to name a few of the brothers at the time. And I got into to see them praising and worshiping God in a different way, a way that I wasn't used to, because we were Catholic boys. We were just hymns and and the normal. And so when we got introduced to CFC, and the brothers there and the brothers and sisters there, and how they worship God, it took our faith to the next level. And so we were leading youth group, and at the same time, I was working down at the airport. So a lot of the stuff that we did was all voluntary in terms of youth. But I spent 7 years working at the airport, and I can tell you, those 7 years was hard, and I didn't like the job. I mean, it was good physical, money was great, but to me, in terms of purpose and fulfillment, certainly it was empty. I can tell you every day. I always trying to find an excuse not to go to work. I still go to work, but it was easy to say, hey, call the boss and say, boss, man, I'm feeling sick. Hey, I need a day off. And so it was easy to do that. And so 7 years of working in this place, there was a burning desire to fulfill the will of God. And the thing was, I didn't know what the will of God was. And so, 7 years I was searching. And I know God kept calling me, kept calling me. And the thing was, I always wanted to obey and surrender all. But at the same time, what does that mean? Does that mean I have to sacrifice some of this life that I'm living because I'm enjoying this life as well? And so there was a bit of a wrestling going on. until one day. Until one day I was asked to run a workshop down in Christchurch at a youth camp, and at the service, the scripture was read, and it was the harvest is rich and the laborers are few. The harvest is rich, the laborers are few. And so as soon as I heard that, man, there was no doubt in my mind, this is the time to go. You know, whatever the calling was, this is the time to go. And so I came back up to Auckland, and I went and resigned straight away. And but you know, I had to kind of just find out what is it that God wants me to do first. So I had a bit of time to to work before I finished, and so when I made that call, when I made the decision to follow the will of God, doors started to open, opportunities started to rise. People were starting to talk to me and say, "Hey, you ever thought about youth work?" and so, and I was like, "Oh, I always wanted to be a cop, but I didn't want to study. You know, I wanted to be a social worker, but like I didn't want to study. Wanted to be a courier driver, and then I was doing a bit of courier driving. Wanted to be a PE teacher, but I didn't want to study because I struggled in school. You know, I didn't do too well, and studying wasn't my thing. I just wanted to play rugby, and you know, that was my life, and that's why I struggled in school. And he went to school, you know, the old cliche saying, "You eat my lunch and play rugby." That was pretty much it, you know. So so my conversation with God in this time was back and forth, and so and this is how it went. In the words of Mother Teresa, she says, "I may not be able to change the world, but if I'm faithful in doing the little things that make a difference, no, then I've done what I've been called to do." See, Martin Luther King wasn't the only one with the dream. God blessed me with the dream too. Stop playing the fool. Back yourself. Do your job because the harvest is rich. Laborers are few. Oof. So then my heart is beating while I'm excited, but I can't breathe. My faith has visions, but my eyes can't see. As this door's starting to open, doubt's starting to melt. I don't know which road to take. Lord, what happens if I take a leap of faith and all this is a mistake? I have no job. I'll pay my bills. How am I supposed to support my family? A man makes his plans, but the Lord determined the steps. Son, you knew too much and you lost your way because you stopped me. Confident in this, for he who began the good works in you will carry them to completion, says my disciple Paul. If you choose to follow me, you must die to self, make a sacrifice. Because it ain't a sprint, son. You got to be in it for the long haul. Father, I cannot speak. I'm only a child. Do not say that I'm only a child. For wherever I send you, you will go. Whatever I command you, you shall speak. Do not be afraid of them. I will deliver you, not by power, not by might, but by my spirit. For that is impossible to. Son, you just have faith in me. You got to trust me. You just got to believe. Father, with all my failures, with all my struggles, with all my weaknesses, I give you. Oh, that was, that was when I made the decision to leave, and I went for it. I was scared also. I was scared because I was the oldest. I was the oldest in the family, and so mom and dad, they're relying on me too. I got to bring in and help out because I had younger siblings, and so it was a wrestling match in my head. I was, what happens if I leave and can I help mom and dad? And because I didn't do too well in school, I don't know what kind of jobs that are out there, and so when the door opened, I went for it, and that's how I got into youth work. So, and the thing was, man, Solly, when I took the job, Solly, I was getting half of what I was getting paid at the airport. So, I was thinking, oh, Solly, but I stuck with it. I said, Lord, man, if this is where you want me to go, I want to go. And I tell you, it was the best decision ever. Then I was getting paid $10 an hour, and that's still is peanuts. But I was able to get into De La Salle as a youth worker. I became a youth worker at De La Salle, St. Peter. And the thing was, the principal at De La Salle at the time, he looked at my pay. He says, "Sorry, man, you can't be getting $10 an hour. We'll just take it up to 15." And for me, that was, sorry, man, it's better than 10. And so, you know, even though it was far less than what I was getting, I needed to prove myself. I needed, I've always been about making an impact, making an impact, making an impact. I could have complained about the money now, but I was paid in other ways, but was really faithful to me. And I was here because I was telling you I hate studying. I was here. Yeah, I was here. The Logos was the one who took me on, and then they put me on praxis. So on praxis, this is where I learned my craft. I learned about youth work, and there was a lot more to being a youth worker than just activities and stuff. There was a lot more to it, and this is what opened my eyes on practice. And man, I tell you, sorry, that ripped me up, usual. That course, the course, man, sorry, I really had to, you had to look deep. Why you were here, why you were called, what you got, and for me, man, those deep questions, man, so they just ripped me out. I was like, sorry, man, why am I, what's my purpose? I followed it and said, man, this is where I got to really think about the reason why I came into it. There needed to be a purpose. There needed to be something to drive me. So that exposed me to world. And then I did 2 years at De La Salle, St. Peter's, St. Paul's, and then got to a point where I was a bit complacent. I was getting too comfortable. I was rocking up, running retreats. I was doing a great job. And people would say, man, you do an amazing job, man. But, it got to a point where I looked at myself and I said, yeah, it's great, but I'm kind of just relying on my strength here. I'm recycling stuff. I just kind of rearrange it finally, to make it look different. and so when I got to that point, of being comfortable, be complacent, I knew, man, shucks, my integrity was starting to go. And then the opportunity to go to Papua New Guinea to do missionary work, that opened up, and I knew truly it was God's timing. And I jumped to it. I signed up, and the thing was, with this share the mission, because it was a De La Salle thing. We would get to go to the other De La Salle schools over in Australia and Papua New Guinea, and vice versa. They get to come over and do missionary work over here. And I said, you get the sheet and say, where do you want to go? And I looked at it out of my head. I said, I want to go to Papua New Guinea, or even to the desert, Australia. I don't want to go to another, school, De La Salle school that's in the city. I want to be. I've always wanted to go to Africa, and I think Papua New Guinea was the closest to it. And so, they were, we've never sent anyone to Papua New Guinea before. Because sorry, it was hostile, mate. And then there's a lot of stuff going on over there, man, witchcraft and all, and there's quite hostile. And man, I believe this is where I'm called. And so I went, man. They said yes, send you over. And well, it's funny because 2 weeks before going over, sorry, there was killings. There was corrupt politicians doing this and that, and really it was just, but that didn't faze me, man. I was ready to go. I was ready to go, and then get there, man. I was in far about. That's not too bad. As soon as you come out of the airport, go into the main street, surely I thought it'd be like Samoa or Tonga, be like, sorry, man. It was pretty, man. And it was hot, it was dry, and shucks, it was beautiful, man, really dirty.
Yeah.
And I said to her, and I remember going home that night and I was just lying in bed and said, man, I ain't gonna turn back now. I'm called here for a reason and I'm here to stay. And I tell you also, it was one of the best decisions in my life. And I tell you, I loved it. I went over there, with the intention to serve. But like I said before, man, I went and I got served. You
Cool.
know, yeah, I gave them and helped them in different stuff, but at the same time, it helped me find who I was in God, who I was as a man, who I was as a youth worker. And it really stretched me, man, because like I said, when I was telling you, so, school wasn't my thing. And so, I saw there was a need. There was a need. First thing I did over there was set up an idol competition. You know how it's pretty big here in New Zealand and in Australia, and so they've seen it, but they've never done it, and so yeah, I was amazed because I went into a music class. So there was all these key colors flying around, and each key color had one string, another key color had two strings, and the only key color that had full strings was the key color I went with to force myself out of play. Color, man. So I ended up not even playing key color, man, because as much as I wanted to, it wasn't my thing. You can't really force yourself if you're not passionate about it and driven about it. And so I went and sort of the boys picked up their key colors. One guy was playing one string, the other guy was playing the other two strings, and then the other guy was playing the other strings. So then they created music. And then for me, and that's like one of the key things about being a youth worker, is regardless of what you have that's lying around, use it, and then you can create something huge with it. You always, as youth workers, man, we're always under resourced. We don't have the money. We were on scraps. So the stuff that we get is it's either being used in second hand. And so, that's the life we live. And the thing was, these guys showed me, hey, what you have is far greater than what you need. And if you use it, man, you create magic. And so I was on the way, and I was with that, and I heard the brothers, and I heard the kids sing, and that's when I thought, hey, let's do a idol competition. So we did an idol competition in the school, and I said, hey, I've got no judges. Who do we get to be a judge? And they said, oh, Laurie, get Laurie. And I said, who's Laurie? He's the guy at the radio station. He's the MC at the radio station. And so I called this guy, man. I said, hey, brother, I introduced myself. I said, man, I'm running this idol competition here at school. I need a judge. Can you be a judge? Because all these kids are asking for you. He's like, yeah, sweet ass, man, sweet ass. And today, I had trouble getting this guy because every time, man, I called him and he always said, yeah, I'll meet you. And I got to a point where I said, man, this guy's all eats. Yeah, now I'm gonna just give him one more try. And if he does come through, I'll find someone else. And then, I finally got through and I told him, Sully, man, bro, I've been trying to reach you. I've been trying to do this thing with these kids because they really want you. But you're sort of like, giving me the runaround. And so the brother came over. My brother came to the school, introduced himself, apologized. And so I've just made a lifelong friend right there.
Man.
Yeah, Sully, man, and the brother said, Sully, man, apologized and took me out down to the bakery.
I should have been
feeds in Miami. I'm sick of noodles, man.
Are you sure you're Papua New Guinea or was he Samoan? It sounds like a Samoan.
Man, I tell you, I said, bro, you are Samoan, bro. Because you have different types of Papua New Guineas. You got the coastal ones, and then you got the Highlanders. The Highlanders are dark, yes, and then you got the coastal ones who a little bit darker than us, but lighter than the other than the Highlanders. So he was kind of that mix. I said, man, you're an islander, man. You're an islander. So yeah, we got along fine. And then, you know, I did so I did that one idol competition there, and I did 3 others with the other De La Salle schools. And so we went around. I got him to get his mates to come through and judge, and through him as well, we got some prizes. Got to take the kids out to got to take the kids to the radio station. They were on live on air, and so they were blown away. So they were blown away, and you know, and then we did this, and because the guy Laurie, he's very popular in Papua New Guinea. He had, you know, connections everywhere, and you know, he was the go-to guy for MCing, and so he MC'd this corporate dinner. So you had all these businessmen, you had the, you know, the top dogs, and the thing was, he said, bro, can you come and do an item? I said, yeah, man, I can do an item. I can come do an item. So I taught the kids the creative dance, the All of Me dance, and I took the kids and we performed at this restaurant, this corporate dinner. And straight after that, we did the dance. I did a Siva more. I put the bowl down. And I, you know, joked around. I said, "Hey, man, I know you guys are, you're well off, man. Let's get some money to fill up for a good cause." Awesome. You know, man, it was awesome. And the thing was, what blew me away, man, was my kids got to eat, you know, like the good stuff.
Wow.
And you know, it was just funny watching them eat. Knowing how to eat with a knife and fork and chopsticks, and you know, and those are the things you take for granted. And for me, I got emotional because it's like, man, wow, these things you take for granted, but these kids, man, they come from really poor families, and the thing I love about these kids, man, they even though they don't have like much to eat, their hunger for it, their drive, sorry, man, because the hours that they start at 7 in the morning, and they finish school at 4. I was like, sorry, oh my gosh, you know, and that's a long day, and you know, for some of these kids, they don't get much to eat, so they'll be lucky to get crackers, you know, and that's all they eat, and so that drove me to set up a breakfast club. And so what I did was I just started off with koko lesa, you know. So I just went down the road, got some Milo. There was these small packets of Milo, and they got the rice. So lucky those things were kongo fie. Yeah, so I was able to make a couple of pots of koko lesa, and the thing was they had a home ec, so they got to make bread, bungis, and that sort of stuff. So it went well. And then got to a point where I was like, we need to up it, we need to get some more stuff. And so I was telling you before, man, I struggled with school. This forced me to write letters. Write letters to companies, man. I was like, couldn't get out of my comfort zone, man. I had to get people to check it out. Does this make sense? I had to take it to the principal. Does this make sense? Because, man, I don't know how to write, you know, corporate language. You know, I'm just simple, man. And so, I wrote a couple of letters, send it up, and that's how awesome God is. There was a man that worked at the chicken. He was the boss man there, and you know, I sent him the letter, and he called me back. He says, "Hey, I know who you are. You're that guy that spoke at the school my daughter goes to." I said, "Oh, what school is that? Jubilee?" And she goes, "Yes, my daughter really enjoyed it. I was there and I heard you, and I really enjoyed what you said." And so also, man, I was blown away. He goes, "Hey, I want to give you chicken." And you know what he did also? He gave us a whole year's worth of chicken. And you get those flat boxes, and inside those flat boxes, it like packs of chicken pieces. So man, so man, we upgraded from
wasn't Buckle Moore, wasn't it?
Oh, no, sorry. This was the good stuff. It was the meaty stuff. The stuff that we were brought up on. And so, man, I tell you, was blessed also. And then another company, Goodman Fuelers, I seen them one too, and then they gave me, what you call big, massive gangas of flour, and lace up. And another company gave us heaps of rust. And I said, man, shucks, I've always believed that, simple things. And God, in this point in time, God, He's a simple man like myself, able to bring stuff to help our young people. And so that was buzzy, man. It was buzzy. And then from that, having those idol competition, I said, hey, man, let's take it up a next level, man. And so I started up a choral fest, and it was the first time they had something like that in Papua New Guinea. And so I started off with the Catholic schools that I was working in. I said, hey, man, I've seen what you guys can do as in little groups, but, let's do a choir. Man, so I had no experience apart from our palafu ones at church, we started up the conference, and it was 6 Catholic schools, and it was a huge event, also huge event, and but yeah, my background is not in music, so I just said, hey, this is just an idea, let's make it happen, let's get the right people, So I got onto the music teachers at the schools. I said, hey, let's make this happen. And they goes, oh yes, that's a great idea, but now you do it. I said, no. If you guys want to do it, and you see that these young people want to do it, let's make it happen. But the thing is, they've got to take ownership. They've got to put. I'll do my part. You guys do your part, because the last thing we want is for me to go and then leave it to you guys, and then collapse. And you don't know what to do. So there was a hit, bro. And the school that won, man, they got studio time. They got to record their thing, and shucks, man, and it was just awesome to see something like this happen. And the feedback I was getting was, man, this is the first time they've done this sort of thing, and it's brought a lot of people, and it highlighted the talents of the young people.
Man,
yes,
that's so awesome.
So, man, yeah, man, shucks, I was just blown away. And it was hard for me to leave Papua New Guinea, because I definitely would have stayed another 2, 3, 4 years or so, because I felt like, hey, I'm going somewhere with this. And the thing was, I got to go back, and I was getting married. So I told my wife, I feel the Lord is calling me to stay another year, and then on the other. And so I said, oh no, I think I better come home. And so I was just blown away with that experience. I came back to New Zealand, man, with different eyes, looked at the world differently, looked at my youth work differently, and I was angry. It's funny, I was coming here, I was angry a lot of the time, because of what I've seen in the hunger young people have for education. I come here, so like, man, we got to give education. We got it good here, but we're wasting it.
No, you're right.
And I'm thinking, success. I was angry, man, angry at us wasting food. That's when the voice of your mom comes in. Yeah, like a Mickey that way, Afrika, and Chuck's here, so that came to me. Started sounding like that. Instead of saying Afrika, it was Papua New Guinea. And so, that was a massive highlight of my life. I came back, and I got back into the schools again. And I was doing it, but then it got to a point where I was getting a bit comfortable again, and I needed a new challenge. I always wanted to be. By then, I wanted to be a youth worker for the rest of my life, to the day I die.
Wow,
and
man.
so I needed to move. And so I was back here last year, and it got to a point where I said, man, Lord, I'm just gonna move. I got nothing. I've got nothing, no job set up. I'm just gonna move. And so I left. I left, and that was in June, and I was getting married in December.
Man,
So,
you're a man of
so
faith.
I
A man
was
of faith.
unemployed. It was like, you're getting married in December. How are you doing? But it was in me. I said, nah, man, I need to move. I don't know to what. I got nothing lined up. I just need to move
Man.
because I know for me, I was dying. I was dying inside because this is my integrity was starting to go again, and so I left, and yeah, man, I was unemployed. I managed to pick up a job at Monticello, picking up furniture for families that were living in emergency housing, and so when they left, they were able to take goods that were donated, and so I did that once a week. So give me something, give me something, and so they got me through. But I tell you, when it came to my wedding, also, man, uh, there was a lot of stuff I couldn't afford, but because I was a youth worker and I helped a lot of young people in my church, so they all came through. They were all my waiters in my wedding, and I tell you, I was blessed, man. I couldn't afford a hall, so I said to my principal at St. Peter's, I said, I need a hall. Am I able to use the school hall? And he goes, yeah, man, use it. And I took my wife, showed her the hall, and she says, oh, hell no.
Bridget.
She looked at it and goes, oh, hell no. Because I said, nah, honey, you haven't seen it when it's all done up. It's all done up, man. Yeah, when you look at it, so there's makwa. It's worse than, our whole packet, last our packet of this. Yeah, man. And that's how ugly it looked, man. But I've seen it. I've seen it done up, and they have special dinners, and so they do it up really good. And so my wife got to see it all done up, and so man, just blown away. Shucks, yeah, for the catering, man, I tell you, I didn't have enough. But people came through and they blessed us, and surely, yeah, I tell you, what we got at our reception was far greater than what we looked at Ellerslie and Alexandra.
Oh, yeah.
Because when people hooked up to all that, and so I was blessed. I was blessed,
So good.
and it was the best wedding. Also, there was in Papua New Guinea. He came over. He was one of my best men. And so man, it was the best. And my relationship with St. Peter's, because I didn't even have limousines or anything like that. And I said to the principal, do you mind if I use your school van for the bridal party? He goes, yeah, yes. Even though I had St. Peter's magnet thing on the side, I was like, oh, I'm happy. But no, my mum, she goes, oh, hell no. I said, hey, oh, man. I said, oh, if you want me to, you get the answer. That's what Mazines. I said, cheapest man. You don't want to waste the money. You could have just given that to us. But yeah, they just mum one of the best for us. And so yeah, it was all, man. Our wedding was with a budget that was quite low. We were blessed big time. Yeah, and then from there, this is where I got into the streets. Yeah, at your old stomping ground, also at Crosspower. I went to take one of my youth girls. She wanted to be a youth worker, and so she wanted to do a work placement. I said, "Oh yeah, I know somebody. I know someone called where you are." So I took her over, and we caught up with Ellen Barr. And so I introduced her to Ellen Barr, and on my way out, I came down and I met Sully in the car park. And then we started talking, and he'd see me around because I was going to Faith City every now and then. So he's seen me do my stuff. And so he says, "Man, what are you doing, man?" I said, "Oh, at the moment, I'm just looking for work. I'm still unemployed. Yeah, now that I'm married, I need a job."
Well,
And so, and the man goes, "Well, you know what? You can start right now." I said, "Oh, hey." And it was on this day, they were gonna return the funding because they couldn't find, when you left,
yeah.
they were without somebody for ages.
Wow.
And I just, man, again, that's all God for me. And it just proved to me, hey, my God is real, man. Because like, man, I had nothing. I wasn't planning to get a job here, but doors open. Um, I took that door, I opened and I walked in, and this is where I was introduced to the streets. So you know what it's like. Also working with our families, and this was this was huge for me because I started at church, and then from church went to the school, so it was comfortable. It was all good. Kids listen, and I was wanted to hit the street to see what it's like. And slowly, this is where I saw a dark side to Otara.
That's where you see the promised land, eh? The promised land and the home of the brave.
So I thought, what are people talking about, man? What time is open? And so as soon as start going through the alleyways and see the dark side of Otara, so I said, far out, man. I was like, shucks. And my auntie just lives across the road.
Man.
And dealing with the families with the drug lords and their
Yeah.
kids, and so you get to see that life, that life, man. The gangs and the drugs and the money and far out, and the brokenness, and that's what opened my eyes to that world. And so I got to work with young people, started up a street club, the Wolf Pack. You had Alan Var with the Pearl, and you had Tia with Adalam, and then you had Teasel with New Era.
Yeah.
And so we started up the street club in the near the Hillary area,
Wow.
Eppington, yeah, Franklin, Alexandria, that area. And so we started up the Wolf Pack, and that drew a lot of kids. A lot of kids that they've been hanging around the streets, searching for something, but these were the ones who were getting picked up by the killer bees and the tribes.
Yeah.
And so we got to know that life and the young people's stories. And this is where you had to try to find some way of connecting with the young people. So these kids were into rapping, they were into freestyling, into rap battles, and into the garage studios, and Killer Bees was huge back then because they were producing their own stuff.
Yeah.
And so the kids were listening to Tupac and Biggie and all that. They were listening to sort of these guys that are doing their stuff in the garages, the Killer Bees. So they were
That's right.
holding these guys.
Color, was it the colorway records, eh? Colorway records.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
And so they're pretty big, and when you listen to the lyrics, you can hear the struggle, but then it's taking our kids to another life and finding other ways of getting money, instead of doing the hard yards, still doing the easy yards, which is breaking into cars and stealing, breaking into people's houses, and standing people over on the streets. So I had to come up with something that I could connect with the young people. And so they always say, "Chill, man, you want to battle, man? You want to battle?" And I said, "Nah, man, I can't rap for peanuts, man. But just give me time. I'll come up with something." And so this is and that's where I went into spoken word, and this is where I wrote something, and it was the first time I did spoken word. I didn't even know what spoken word was. I thought I was rapping, but it was a slow rap that doesn't go with any music. And I couldn't do it to any music sort of thing because it just didn't. Didn't quite go. So and we something like this. Sometimes in my room, I'm writing spiritual lyrics, so people listening can like spiritual food for the mind. world we live in today is made up of greed and pride. People committing suicide as a solution, as an easy way out, not knowing that God can help. And I say without a doubt, teenagers become more violent than ever. The innocent, killing anyone, killing whoever roams the streets. Television music become more expressive, more extreme. The little ones sing along to the catchy tunes, not knowing what the words of the song means. Talking about sex, killing thugs, and drinking Hennessy. Underage drinkers getting behind the wheel, not knowing pain until the friend, the passenger side, gets killed. It was meant to be a joyride. You see, the family finds out the next thing you see in a lonely mother's eye. Beautiful sisters on the side of the road, telling their bodies to who, young, old, out in the cold. Doesn't matter, the end of the night, she's labeled a hoe. Others in the streets selling drugs. How much television watching, but they want to be thugs. It brings tears to your eyes. Your head tell you why. Where does that? In the word of God, it says, do not lean on your own understanding. But the husband, oh, it's good. I was trying to be my own man. And relying God's knowledge and wisdom. I was leading a group, but I didn't know where I was leading them. So God pulled me through and made me realize me trying to be wise in God's eyes, I was only a fool. So he said, son, hang with the wise, you'll become wise. And a fool will suffer harm. Like a prodigal son, I can see my heavenly father's arms open wide, telling me to come home, son. You're by my side. I love you. But you all take away the hate. What you have to do, son, is to me. And I will make your path straight. I will make your path straight. This is where God took me to another level. You know, I couldn't rap before. I struggled to do lines together that would rhyme and even make sense. And so, you know, it took me to that place. I had to find some way of connecting young people. And I see that they're really into this freestyling rap, and you know, I just need a few, and then man, I'll battle you, sir. Shut up, yeah, no, come straight, man, come and be straight, man. so when I delivered that, the hope was they would think about what they're doing, think about where they're at, if we come out of the man. And so this is where God took me to a place where I had to learn. And I learned a lot, man. And these young people, yeah, they taught you stuff that I didn't even get in. So, you know, I took it all in. I took it in, and the 3 years at Crossbow, worked in Otara. Wow. It was home to me. Then I felt, hey, it was time for me to move. I need to find the next challenge. And so the next challenge for me was opportunity opened up at Target Education as an alternative ed teacher. Lucky good thing about it, I had a bit of experience with Sawa and Liz. And so, you know, down at PTL. And so, you know, I learned a lot from them. The funny thing was, when I came onto the scene at for Crosspower, this guy were betting on me, man. Saying, man, this guy, he's not gonna last. He's not gonna last 2 months. so I lasted both of them. They both left. We had a quick crack up. It was a silly eye. So 3 years later, you know, God took me to the next level. I was learning, but at the same time, I was, you know, I was showing what I had learned over the years, the different experiences that I brought from school, from Papua New Guinea. I was bringing it right here to Spell. And so, you know, it was a give. I was learning from them, and they were learning from me. And so, but it was time for me to move on. And so, door opened up at Target Education as an alternative ed. And you know, I was telling you again, school was not my thing. I was chucking myself in the deep end. I had to learn. And did I learn or what, man? Far out, shucks. It was funny, man, because you know, when you teach maths and even know a lot of the questions and stuff, is like yeah, YouTube became you know, my best friend. And so there were times, man, I had to be straight up with Kite. I said, man, I don't know the answer, but I will find it. I will Google it. Let's Google it together. Let's go to YouTube and let's work this out together. Because I was a youth worker. I wasn't a tutor, so I was back down again, starting from scratch, and so I had to learn. How to do well in this field. So 5 years, I was there 5 years, and I tell you, so it was the best 5 years ever. It was hard.
Wow.
It was hard because I had to learn, and it took me to a place where I was humbled, and so again, I used the gifts that God had blessed me with, and stuff that I picked up over the years. Created did an art exhibition, because we had no money and we wanted to take these kids on outings and stuff, but we didn't have the money. So I said, hey, let's do some art pieces and let's auction it off. Oh, mate, I tell you, so man, we got these kids, and also struggle to get the kids to do an art piece.
Oh no, when is it off, beloved?
Yeah.
So, can you still see me, Sio?
Yeah. I still hear you.
Oh, sorry, Oos.
Yeah, now.
Oh, can you see me? Or
Yeah, I can see.
Oh, what happened to the... Oh, sorry, Oos, I think someone must have called. But I'll put this back on again. Sorry, Oos.
Wow.
Yeah. Hang, give it 5 minutes or so. I'll get back in again.
Sweet as.
I don't know what happened. I think it's someone called, and it's kind of messed up with the. Sorry.
No, all good, man. Lucky too, because my kids were starting to come through and getting bored outside.
Oh, no. Like, carry on, because I love the story you talking about your art exhibition. So,
yes, yeah. So, man, and the art exhibition, man. I've never done it before. There was one gift I didn't know I had was to draw. I mucked around at school in Mr. Smith's art classes, but I didn't take it seriously. Much, just going to hang out and get some Indian ink from Mr. Smith and to go and do our own homemade tattoos. Do the old DLS.
It's good. It shows you on your
Sorry, man. Lucky, Matt Stowers. He did our family crest on that art. But, there were some good times doing the home tattoos with some of the boys, man, because we didn't know what we were doing. And so when I did one of the Ucho's tattoos, Loxia, Loxia? Yeah. So I did his one, and Tony, we were doing it, and I got to S, so we did D, La, and SAL, and then my little brother came in and he tipped the Indian ink.
No.
And so we didn't get to finish it. And so he was D, La, SAL for a long time. So and it was funny. It was only just a few years ago that he got a proper tattoo and he covered it. And it was funny. And so we were at home. I did his one, and he did Michael Ansu, DJ Manchu. So we were all at home, doing our ones, tattooing each other, not knowing what we're doing, and there was blood everywhere. And he's sorry, don't worry. So yeah. Back then, didn't even know anything about sterilizing and all that. So there was no diseases back then.
Yeah, there's the COVID-19 back then. What a
we were
great
just,
one.
we were just doing our Palafu ones, and yeah, and then we just did other guys as well, as everybody was getting it, and yeah, just thank Mr. Smith for the Indianings and
Smith. Oh man.
yeah,
You were so funny. You know, so awesome, Seal. Is it like like the whole vision? Like when I asked you about, was this something that you always kind of envisioned, or was this part of the vision? But also, man, just because your journey, man, it's like it's crazy. It's
mm,
amazing the journey where you started from, and it's I don't feel like when I'm listening to you talking about your journey, it doesn't even feel like it wasn't a vision. It's not so much a vision, but it was more like it feels like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it felt like it
mm,
just was a calling. It's like
yes,
the Father called you, and everywhere you went, there was always the Father always supplied you, or he always equipped you
yes,
in those certain areas, and I love it because I was going to ask you. One of the questions was, what are some of the things that kind of refined you? But the thing is, you already mentioned all of that. You mentioned the refinement of you said that I wasn't good at school, but then you had to write letters, you had to
yeah,
get yourself out of the comfort zone. All those things in terms of in terms of manhood, and it shows your character, Sio, like in terms of integrity. You knew very well, like, oh, I'm not being integral now, so I need to move on now. And it's
mm,
like you knew because for some people, for some men, would have been like, oh, that's right. I'll just kind of ride the wave as long as I can, and I'll just kind of muck around, whatever, because it's more
mm,
comfortable. But I love the fact that you didn't like to be in your comfort zone. You always kind of challenge yourself, and you always stepped out in faith. Because everything
mm,
you're talking about is about faith. Obviously, your faith is a big part of your journey and your life. You started a youth group with the Rock, and meeting up all these people along the journey, and it's just amazing how the Father equipped you everywhere you
yes,
went, and just refining you. Like every
yeah,
step, refining you, your character, building patience, all that kind of stuff, endurance. Man, what a journey! So it's such a crazy journey, and even spoken word, and then being in the heart of Otara, and working with these kids. Like, man, what the heck? And once again, refining all that kind of stuff. And the cool thing about it too is that I love the fact even now, like you said, the brothers keepers. Man, you are a real visionary. Someone who just kind of just okay, let's do it, let's just do it, and you just do it without hesitation. And also, I just man, I'm just blown away, Like, whoa, what? I'm just sitting here, just listening. Like, man, how does this
mm,
go? What is all this? But one thing I do want you to touch on is like the slums, because when I read
yeah,
your introduction, if you can talk about the slums, but how you experienced living in the slum, or living in the slums, but in the Philippines. I was like,
mm,
man, that's just. Well, tell us, because I know you talk about PNG, but tell us about the Philippines and actually living in the
yes.
slums here.
Oh, sorry, the best best thing ever. If you want to be a youth worker, um, best training ever, and it was going into a place and not doing anything, not coming with your fear pokorness, not coming with you want to change the world, you want to do this, do that. No, no, it was going in there, sitting, learning, and honestly, man, it was one of the biggest ever for me. That's why when I went to Papua New Guinea, I said to the teachers, hey, I want you guys to take ownership. And when I started up that choir competition, I
Mhm.
want you to take ownership, because if I leave, I could leave anytime. And if you don't know how to run this, it's never gonna happen. And
Mhm.
how are you supposed to serve your people? Because you all want it, you all want to help these young people, you want to bring the best out. How can you want that but not know how to do these stuff that will bring this and that will expose them? And so for me, going to the Philippines, lived in the slums, and I stayed with a family. Sorry, man. I thought, I took and they humbled me big time, man, because we stayed in the shack. And this family, there was mom, dad, and four kids. And so we lived in the space. It was quite small. It was quite small. And so when we slept, so I took up half
What?
I took up after the room, half the house, really. And so, oh man, that was half the house, and they're all squeezed up on the other side, and because they they wanted to honor me and give me that space, but because I was I'm a big man, so when I went there, I was a giant. So when I was walking around, I felt like I was Shaq. That's how big I was. Um, and in a place like that, you think you'll feel unsafe. But man, I felt safe. I was able to walk around and walk through the slums at nighttime and not worry about my safety and stuff. It was because of who we are, also people, the kind of people we are. We get along with everybody, and so I got invited to people's houses, for dinner and stuff, and they didn't have much, but I said, hey, I'll come. And then I find out afterwards, by the guy who was hosting it, he says, when you say yes to a family to come and then they've invited you for dinner and you say yes, they, it's a big deal for them because you're saying that you trust them with your life, you trust them with with what they want to offer you. And so, man, suddenly, man, I was getting people asking me, come for dinner. Because man, I love to eat, man, and so we didn't have much, but but luckily, praise the Lord, so the stuff was going fear, so
Oh, wow.
it was going fear, like steak meals was like so like $6, like a proper
Oh,
steak meal,
man.
and I felt like a rich guy, man, but yeah, and
Well,
I loved it, man. I loved being in the slums, and man, it definitely opened my eyes, and that was the lesson I learned from there was if you go into a space, and because I know you want to do good, you want to do this, you want to do that, you want to change the world, but don't go in there with your pokolers. Go in there and you listen. You listen to the people. They have the answer.
nice. Good.
You need to go in there and support. They
Yeah.
say, "I'll do this, do that, do everything,
Yeah.
do what I'm saying," and then you leave, and then everything collapses.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's good. That's good advice, man. So
and,
true.
and so, yeah, that's all I did, man. I didn't do anything. I just listened, experienced, listened to the people, and one thing I saw, you had these beautiful girls. So they they makwa put heaps of makeup. So when they put makeup on, there's papang, there's man, there's like
Yeah.
figures. I said, why you doing that? You're beautiful as you are, but then you go and put on.
They're doing it for you, so they're doing it. So they chose the slums.
Oh man, I tell you, man, that sucks, man. I said, man, you're beautiful as you are. But the thing is, they go put all this makeup on because they want to be white. Because
Wow.
if you're parangi fair, you get treated differently.
Yeah. No.
So I was like, and so I was like, and that's where I got to to reflect on things and say, man, are we wearing a mask? Take their mask off, be who you are. That was a very important lesson for me to learn over there. And again, be satisfied and be happy with what you have. Man, the host that I was living with, he didn't get more than $30 a week. He was going around pushing this vendor trolley and selling what was he selling? Selling balut, which is those
Yeah.
yeah.
I tasted
Sorry,
it.
man.
Yeah. Never again, man. Never again.
Oh,
How was it? Was it?
oh my gosh. Sorry, man. I did that balut, man, and man, that was the worst experience ever. And the thing was, hey, man, I did it and I ate it, and I had a crowd. had a crowd also, and they said, "Hey, eat. This is good for your knees." And so, you're appreciated to doing it. So I said, "Oh, yeah," but at the same time, I wanted to try it, so I could say, "Hey, I've done it." And honestly, because you open the top, and there's the juice inside. Once I took a whiff of it.
Oh man, no, I know what you mean. I did it. I ate it. Oh man, nice. It's nice and crunchy. Nice and crunchy. The bones are nice and
I took a whiff of this, all I needed wide, man. Just that's how rotten it smells. So, and then I drank the sewer, and then unwrapped the egg, and then really, man, all I could think about was the poor chicken. So I was eating, and we could just crunch. The funny thing was, man, I bought it in my mouth, and I held it in my mouth. I was forcing myself to swallow it because I had a crowd. I had all these people. I was like,
chug.
oh man! So I couldn't disappoint. My fans. So I made sure, but never again, man. Never again. Man, I stay away from those things, man. So, but when you see them eat it, man, it's either like yuffie, man. So, but very valuable lessons that I learned from Philippines. And the thing about it too, got to see the De La Salle University and how massive De La Salle was over there. Man, it's funny. I went to the university. I thought, it was like university over here. You can just walk through and nah, man. So you get there, and so you got guards with guns, and I said, oh, can I go through and just walk around? He goes, oh no, you have to have an ID, and so I stood at the gate, and I said, oh, I'm from De La Salle, Mangere. So I just thought I'd come and see De La Salle over here. And so he goes, oh, okay, yeah, that's nice. You need an ID. And so I went through my wallet. I found my De La Salle library card. Just my De La Salle library card. Just, hey, is this what this do? No. And then, sorry, at that time, I still had my TLS. I said, hey, see, I took off my showed him my TLS. Yeah. I showed him my TLS. And sorry, the guy goes, no. And so lucky one of the managers came down, the supervisor came down, and I said, oh, I'm from New Zealand. I'm from De La Salle. I wanted to come and check out De La Salle over here. And he goes, well, we're going to have to call the principal. And so they called the brother, and he came down. And I said to him, hey, Brother Steve. Oh, this is where I start name dropping. Brother Steve says, come and visit. Yeah, and he goes, oh, Brother Steve. Oh, yes, Brother Steve Hogan. It's really, man, the man. Oh, he says, hey, come through this. Oh man, I felt VIP, man. So he took me around, took me massive way, massive university campus. Shucks, and it was, oh man, it was unbelievable. This is in the middle of the slums as well. In the middle of the slums, and you go into and it's well kept, and it's nice, and yeah, it's really, I mean, went up to have lunch. Sorry, man. Oh my God.
You had lunch as well. Wow.
Yeah. Shucks, man. And felt like a king, man. And so I said, oh, I want to go visit the other De La Salle schools. And that's when he gave me a pass so that when I go to the other De La Salle schools, I can show them that, and the guards will let me in. And that's where I got to see the De La Salle High School. Sorry, man. Massive, man. We get our yearbooks and it's this thin, eh? You get their yearbooks and it's like this thing.
How many students do they have?
So they had 2,000. 2,000 Oh, man. And then you look at go through the pages and it's all colored, man. It's a fetch, man. None of those black and white ones that we used to keep back in the day. So, So, man, oh man. So yeah, Philippines was it was an amazing experience. I definitely learned a lot, and I came back and I applied that to my youth work, and yeah, and yeah, there was so much that I was able to teach our young people, the experiences that I had growing up. I didn't experience any of this stuff, but when I made the decision, to be obedient and follow the will of God, fully, man, I was able to travel the world. Got to go to Hong Kong, to the De La Salle school over there that Uncle Bruce Lee went to. Man, I said, "What? Bruce Lee was De La Salle?" He said, "Oh, mate, he was La Sallian." So, got to go to the school that he went to, and man, and yeah, got to travel the world. Went over to England and to and to America. Doing performing arts.
Wow.
Using our cultural dances um, and songs and preaching the word of God, using that. And it was a vision from this English couple. They came over to New Zealand, and they had a vision to take word back to where it came from.
Wow.
And it was and it was switching the roads, because back then it was the English and the European countries that introduced the word of God to the islands. And so they'd come from England, where they believed that the faith is dying. And so they wanted to take a group of Polynesians to take the word of God using Pacifica, to spread the word and share the gospel. And so, man, did that. And again, man, that was God taking me out of my comfort zone, because I wasn't a public speaker or anything like that. I struggled. Mr. Lawton's class.
Lawton, don't give me started with Mr. Lawton, man.
Oh, mate, shucks. Mr. Lawton, man, I remember when I was supposed to do a presentation in a public speaking in the class, and man, I did a terrible job. And after I did that presentation, I never went back to his class. I wagged the whole year of English. And the thing was, every time I saw Mr. Lawton, I would do the ducking, weaving, and being a ninja, until one day I didn't see him, because normally I see him and then I can, even do my side steps and stuff. There's one time he came up from behind, tapped me on the shoulder and goes, Sio, have you given up on me? And because he was the one who got me into his class. Yeah, he got me into his class from Miss Douglas' class. And he saw something that I didn't, when I was in with Miss Douglas. And so he put me into his class. That was level 2 English. And, I always doubted myself. I always thought I was dumb and stupid, because I was in a class with really brainy fellas, and I just felt even more dumb. And so I did my presentation, and it was, oh man, I was scared as I was because public speaking wasn't my thing, and so the fear was real for me. And so yeah, when he did that, when he said that, have you given up on me? So that I was trying to respond, but the man walked away.
Hey.
I didn't get to explain, because he just said it. And me, and then walked away. And the thing was, 10 years later, I come into the youth work team. I worked at De La Salle, and I got to, principal asked me, hey, can you share a little something in the school assembly? I said, yeah, I'll share something. So, but I was like, oh man, after I said yeah. So I went and prayed to the Lord, man, because honestly I was fear, but I just and then sweated afterwards. and then I went and did a shared at the school assembly. Shared at the school assembly, and you know what? it was really good. It was good to the point that after the school assembly, got congratulated by some teachers and students. And the man that came up to me was Mr. Lawton.
Hilton. Whoa.
Lawton. And you know what he said to me?
We
He
see.
said, man, so 10 years later, from have you given up on me? And to hear him say, you're the man, Sule. Um, so I got emotional.
I don't blame you,
got,
man.
got emotional, and it was like, man, I'm free. I've been liberated, and and to hear that, coming from the man who said they'd be giving up on me, and 10 years later he says, "Hey, you're the man." Wow,
Wow. Wow.
and that's why for me, when he said that, surely my heart sank, and I got emotional because of redemption. I was
Wow.
liberated, and so from there, I just kept saying yes, even though I felt uncomfortable to speak at school assemblies. I was at St. Peter's as well. Same thing. The principal came up to me and said, "Hey, it's you, man. Have you got something to share?" I said, "Yeah, man." And then I was like, "Go outside. This is not praying." Because he will say it to me just before he goes up. They do their before the school assembly starts, and so got started getting used to saying yes, and then sweat after, you know. But yeah, man. So I was going, Lord, man, please, what do I say? What do I say? Because man, at that point, my heart is beating wild, and you got all these things running through your head, and you're
Yeah.
going and you're speaking in front of thousands. You go to St. Peter's, they had more than 1,000,
Wow.
and it was, and at that point, same time, LaSalle had those numbers as well. So this wasn't a place to make an error, because you just look stupid in front of all these people. And
Yeah.
but this is where I really relied on God, and His strength and His wisdom and His guidance. I just took a leap. I started getting used to taking the leap, taking the leap.
Wow.
The more, I mean, it's still the same, man. I still take the leap, and then I still sweat like harder afterwards. What did I say yes for? Oh, it's stupid, it's stupid. But then the thing now is I've had a lot of experience, and I've experienced a lot, so I'm able to share, a lot more. Whereas back then, I didn't have much to share. All I could share was my life story, and so,
Wow.
and then thing was, I would tie it to a movie that I watched, and so I was able to, make a connection, and then people was like, "Fuck, man, I never saw it that way." And so yeah, got used to doing that sort of stuff, and so man, I was just every opportunity that came,
Wow.
because if I didn't take it, I would never know I'll end up. I would missed out on something, and it goes back to my youth days when I started up a youth at church. We used to drop the kids off after our youth sessions. It was, I don't know, Adolf
Oh,
Johansson.
Johansson. Johansson. Yep. Yeah. I
Yes,
know. Yep.
yes. So he was one of my youth members, and there was one day, me and Mako, we dropped them off home, and we get there, and it was dinner time, and and oh, silly, we were hungry because we were at youth all day, and we had nothing to eat, and so by the time we dropped them off, we went in, and the food was ready, and Dad says,
Wow.
"Boys, yeah, or Milo, I come and eat." And me and Michael, man, how we are. Oh no, 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 we're right. We okay. Now we really finished eating.
Mga ay, wala mga apa, wala mga apa.
So and he knew we were lying. And he says this, if you're shy, you starve. And I tell you, man, I've used that saying in all my school assemblies that I spoke at. And people know me with us youth, and they come up to me, silly, how you stand, you know, and I always and I compare it to life, because if we shy away from opportunities that we're given, And us polys, we always humble and shy away. And the thing is, when we do that, and we do it quite often, we miss out. We miss out on an opportunity to be a better person. We miss out on an opportunity to be great. You know, because we shied away, we were too mild, we were too scared, and we let fear overcome us. And so I've used this saying everywhere I went. And so a lot of young people that have heard me speak in school assemblies and different youth groups that I've spoken at, you know, they always say, "Hey, remember, you shy, you starve." And then, you know, when we eat like kings. You know, so when you're given this opportunity to eat something, eat, and you be grateful, and you eat like a king, you know, and enjoy it, because you got to, you know, when you're taking that opportunity, make the most of it. You get something out and you celebrate it. You need to celebrate it, because it's something huge. If we dismiss it, thinking like, it's nothing, and then we've kind of missed the opportunity to celebrate something that you achieved. And if we keep doing that, if we keep dismissing it, then we'll never know what we've achieved in life.
Yeah.
Because everything is just blended in, has become the same thing, you know. But and that's why, you know, with the young people that we had, any little thing that they did well in, celebrate, and lift them, because they've never heard that, they've never celebrated the achievements they've experienced over life, and so, you know, and this is the things that don't get picked up by the funders, because they want, he did, they look for the big things, the little things, like coming, you celebrate a kid coming to class when they've missed 2 years of school, and they've been waiting for 2 years, and they start coming to class every day. And I celebrate those things. You celebrate them. You're standing up and saying something. Celebrate that. You know, celebrate them coming to class on time. You know, and there's little things that if they don't celebrate, they won't know that they've achieved something.
Well, that's
It
powerful.
always gets dismissed. So it's always trying to change the scripts that they're so used to. And so, and that's where, you know, when I was at when I was running retreats, and I learned from from Ellen, flip the script. Always flip the script. You know, and so, you know, all these little gems that you pick up along the way, sayings from different people that I looked up to, I used every single one of them, and you know, sharing the messages with young people and because they're not complicated, it's simple. Like, you know, if you shy, you stop, and then you put a meaning behind it. It's true. So when we eat, you know, we eat like kings. So when we celebrate something, and we eat like kings, and, you know, we want to celebrate this huge success. And so that's why I had a lot to share. And you know, when I was doing the alternative ed, we got into art with Lucia. And so me and him, man, we were boys from school, and so we helped each other out, and we were both looking at each other, having a laugh, because, man, we were both the dumbest guys. And he hears us speak Judas, and it's like, oh, crack up, eh? Crack up, and fuck, we were stupid back then, but look, now we're in a place where we can influence. And so 5 years, we were over there 5 years, man. And so we ran a couple of what you call it, art exhibition, you know. So we got kids to do their art pieces, and invited their families and people from the community, and then we would do this stuff, and then we'll auction it off.
Wow.
I tell you, man, the stories that I will share with you, man, with these art exhibitions. There was one family, the girl, she almost threw away her art piece. No, that's good. We'll just keep working on it. Keep working on it. Came the day to auction. Was three people that auctioned for it, and that bid for it. Sorry, and one was the mom, the grandmother, and Mr. English, Mr. English from Dylan South, because I've invited him to come through. So he was bidding for it. And then it got up to 60, 70, 75. Do I hear 80, 85? Do I hear 90? 90, yep. We passed 100. All right. 100 and 105, 110. You've got to 145. Do I hear 150? And guess who was bidding against each other? It was the mother and the grandmother. They were both gunning for the daughter's art piece.
Yes.
End of it, the grandmother took it for 150. And I see this girl, hey, I see this girl. And this was the art piece. She was, she, in the beginning, she went all out. But then, you make some mistakes. And then you kind of, oh, nah, stink. And then they rubbish. But now we say, hey, let's persevere. Let's persevere with it. Man, did it light up her day, man? Shucks. And I was gonna come you too, man. Grandma took a piece, and for her to see mom and grandma bidding each other for her piece, man, that was huge for her that night. Because it wouldn't happen at home every other day, probably getting in trouble, getting blamed for this and that, and being a little gangster. But on this night was she was being honored. Being honored by the two strong women that she looks up to.
Yeah, that's
And
powerful.
so there was many other stories with these auctions. One of my other youth members, he came through and he auctioned. He bid for a piece, and he was bidding against a dad. He didn't know he was a dad, and so this young person's art piece. Geez, man, it's not gonna go for much. It's gonna be like $20. But we sort of like did a bit to it, and we got it to a point, and it looked pretty good. Once we put the varnish on, it was wow, amazing. And so one of my youth members, he's all grown up now. He was bidding against the dad for this art piece, and so it goes, and they get up to $80, and then dad couldn't afford to go any higher. And so, my youth fella, he bought it. And then he comes up to me afterwards. He goes, who was I bidding against? That was the girl's dad, And so, he went over to his wife, spoke with her, and he offered that piece to the dad. And so, there was many stories like that. That you really appreciate coming together. We talk about village. We raise, it takes a village to raise. Man, we got aunties and uncles, cousins everywhere. When it's time to come on a young person, you all come and
Man.
And I tell you, man, there's heaps of stories.
Yeah, no, I can tell, man. I can tell you. There's so many stories.
You go on all night.
It's so cool. See all the stories you're telling me. Like even now, one thing that really stands out tonight in terms of tonight's in terms of your stories and your journey, I think that was very powerful in terms of with Mr. Lawton, and you saying when he said, "Oh, you've given up on me," and just a redemption story. It is kind of like the redemption story. For him to say that to you after 10 years, that's powerful, man. Like the whole thing you've been talking about tonight, the stories you've shared with the slums, Papua New Guinea, different levels, refinement, you're getting out of your comfort zone, Sio. Just crazy, just the whole thing you've been through, and even touring the UK and Hong Kong, all those things. And the funny thing that's not the funny thing, but the thing that's amazing is that you said it yourself. You said you weren't phased, and it sounds like every step that you took, regardless of the you coming out of or getting out of your comfort zone, you always, it was like you weren't phased. Like you said, oh yep, I'll do the speech in front of the whole school. I'll talk in front of the whole school, and yet you go, yep. But and as much as you were like, oh man, what am I going to say, or nervous or scared, you always fronted up. You always fronted up, Sue. I was like, that's crazy. That's amazing. The stories, the plethora of stories that you share of your work and the journey. And the thing is, the scary thing about it, or not scary thing, but the cool thing about it is that it's not even finished, Seal. They say that the 40s is the new 30s. There's not even finished. There's so much stories that you. And I know there's so much more stories that you have to share. There's so many cool things, and I love what you said. The statement you said when you went to drop off Adolf, and his father said, "If you shy, you starve." And you're right. You're absolutely right. Also, if you're shy, you starve. And what happens, like you, and the thing is, a lot of our men out there, or even our young men out there, they don't know how to embrace the or celebrate the small changes,
Yeah,
or even just kind of push themselves, or have the support for others to push them to do things out of their comfort zone. That's so true. It's so true. That's a real powerful statement. If you're shy, you starve. And how many of, because I'm thinking, how many of our men out there, even as adults, we're still whakama, we're too ma, too, or even the humble, yeah, we use the word humble because I'm humble, I'm gonna be humble. And
yeah,
obviously,
yeah,
that's the wrong. I think that's the opposite of being humble. It's like, oh no,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
false,
yes, yes, false
false
humility.
humility.
Yeah, false humility. Yes, false humility. You're right. Absolutely, false humility. That's not being
Yeah,
humble. It's just like, oh no, I'm just keep it to myself. I don't care, and I'm because and knowing very well that I am the man at this, but think, oh no, I'm too humble. But you think of all the young men out there, and men our age or even older,
mm,
who who are not in the position, or not doing things that they're probably called to do, or destined to do, because they were too shy. They were too shy. They
mm,
said, I can't do this. I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't put myself out there. And they're too shy.
yeah,
And now
yeah,
they're starving. They're starving because they didn't take the faith or the leap of faith that you've taken.
mm.
And Sio, just so many cool stories, man. So many cool nuggets. So many cool nuggets. I know we could go on and on also,
Mm.
but I think we'll just well, in terms of your journey, because there's so much to capture of your journey, and I'll probably get you back on again next time when we can go on for part two with Sio Laumatia. Share your story also. But I'm just in concluding also, if you could give one sentence or a phrase or quote of inspiration to impart to our men out there, what would that be? What would be that one sentence or phrase of inspiration that you would think, hey, this is what I need to hear? What
Mm.
would what would that be also?
So before I share that last the phrase, the thing that helped me in terms of the being humble. It was when I resigned, and the mentors that I had were priests, Alangi priests, and they saw me in action. They saw me in action. They seen what I do, and they were blown away. They were blown away, and they came up to me, Seal, and you're flipping awesome. You're amazing at what you do, man. And I was like, nah. Oh God, praise God,
Yeah.
praise the Lord. There's no. And this coming from priest, he goes, no. God has blessed you, and you take it. You take the compliment that we give you. That we
Mm.
give you. You take it. Own it. None of this shy business. No, you take it. And it was there also. It was there that I said, you know what? Not true, man, because all the
Mm.
time, man, all the time I was, yeah, nah, well, praise the Lord, praise the Lord. It's not me, it's the team, it's everybody. We used to do that a lot. But then I find out, man, it's the thing that cripples us. That's
Mm.
the thing that cripples us. And so, yeah, throughout my journey, I've learned this, and I've taken on every little gold nuggets that people have did with me. So, the phrase that pays, that I leave with you, the nuggets you know, that I live by is this: refine, lock, take charge. That's it. Simple. Don't complicate it. Just live it, believe it, and become it.
Man, my man. Also, thank you so much for tonight. Also, but hey, also before we go, because every guest that comes on the show, we always give them a gift, and we want to gift you this also because like I was just in case, like I said before, I'm always looking down and writing stuff. It's not because I'm not listening, Sio. It's just that I'm jotting down the things that you've talked about, just recapping the things that the stories that you were sharing with us and the viewers. And so also this is like, so I just did a bit of a sketch, kind of like a caricature of you. So this is for you. So we want to, the mandate team want to gift this to you. So this is yours.
Oh man.
Yeah, man. So awesome. Yeah. So yeah, bro. After hopefully when the alert levels go down, also, we would like to personally drop this off to you also. And so, man, this is for you, and thank you so much for being on the show. So, we really appreciate it. Also appreciate your time, and just the stories and the gold nuggets you're able to share with us tonight, and the stories, and hopefully, and I'm certain that a lot of men will take a lot out of this and go, man, bro, he's done all this stuff. And in your journey, like, man, he has been able to push, he's been able to get out of his comfort zone, and he's been able to succeed because you really believed in the gift, like you're saying, you believed in the gift that God has called you to. And so also, thank you so much. And once again, also, I'll leave you with the last words. Once again, also, we'll like to hear the mantra again, the last words.
Yes. Refine, unlock, and take charge.
Nice.
Take ownership. Hard.
Awesome. Oh, sorry, one more thing as well, Sio. Is there someone that you think that would benefit being on the show? Like someone who, another man who, or another guy you think will be able to would have a good story in terms of encouraging and inspiring our men as well?
Certainly, I mean, that's a tough one because, man, certainly there's a whole heap to choose from, mate. And so, there's one of the brothers I've just met. I mean, I've come across quite a few great men, but this young fella here, his name is Barney, and he's from the west side, and then I tell you, in terms of euphoric, man, there's hardly any euphoric from the west side, but I know the brother here, so he's holding, he's holding it down for the west side, and this story too is something to be admired. And the fight that he's continually fighting to get to the place where he wants to be and he needs to be. And I don't want to share too much, but I know his struggles, and he's a bit of a naughty fella, back in the days. But as we do, we mature and we grow up, and we learn a lot of stuff. And brother here, he's got a lot to fight for, and he's fighting for a lot of people, but who wanted to change their lives. But because of systems and because of policies and all that stuff, it's keeping them from becoming who they're called to be. And so that's the battle that he's in, and I'm sure he's got a lot to share, and all the stuff that he's overcome. So definitely someone who story that needs to be heard.
Oh, awesome, man. Barney, so if you're listening to this, Barney, if you listen to
Barney,
we're calling you up, Barney. Please give us a holler, or we'll try and get a hold of you as well, Barney. And so awesome also. But once again, after love also, Jamie, just also much love to you and Bridget and to the kids. Thank you very much, and bless you, bro. Awesome, thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity, also. Much appreciated. Love and blessings.
Mandate.